I'm 98 years old, and some mornings I'm not sure I'm going to wake up. Not in a depressed way, just factually. The body is tired, the system is tired, and one morning it might just decide it's had enough. I'm okay with that. But there's something I need to say before that happens. Something I've never said out loud. Something I've spent 98 years not saying, and I need to say it now while I can still form the words. I loved people poorly. That's not a dramatic thing to say. It's just true, and I didn't realize it until very recently. I thought I loved well. I thought I did the things you're supposed to do. I did the external things, but inside I was distant, and I think that distance was the thing that mattered most, and I couldn't see it. When I was a young man, I learned that strength meant not showing need. It meant being the one who provided, not the one who received. It meant having answers, being dependable. That's what I saw modeled. That's what men did. And I was very good at it. I could fix things. I could make money. I could be the stable one, the one everyone could rely on. And I took pride in that. I confused that with being a good person. And I thought love was demonstrated through action, through provision, through showing up and doing what you said you would do. But there was something missing. There was softness missing, vulnerability, the willingness to let someone see that you needed them too, that you were afraid sometimes, that you didn't have all the answers. I never let anyone see that, and I think people knew. I think they felt it. I remember my daughter when she was maybe 8 years old. She came to me one afternoon. She'd had a bad day at school. Someone had been mean to her, and she was crying. And she came to me because I was her father, and fathers were supposed to fix things. And I remember sitting with her, and she was telling me what happened. And instead of just being with her, instead of just letting her cry and listening, I started explaining. I started saying things like, well, people are going to be mean sometimes. That's just how people are. You have to learn to not let it bother you. You have to be tougher than that. I was trying to solve it. I was trying to make her stronger. But what she needed, what she was actually asking for, was just to be held and told that it was okay to feel bad about it. I watched her shoulders collapse inward, like she was closing something inside herself. And she wiped her eyes with the back of her hand, this small gesture that broke something in me that I didn't show her. And she said, "Okay, Dad." And then she turned and left the room, very slowly, like she was already becoming someone different. And I sat there, and I felt something shift, but I didn't know what it was. I told myself I'd done the right thing, that I'd been strong for her. But what I'd actually done was teach her that her father was not a place where it was safe to be vulnerable. That lesson stayed with her. I could see it as she got older. She didn't come to me with emotional things. She came to me with practical things. Questions about money or how to fix something, but not feelings. Never feelings. There was a marriage before the one that lasted. I was married for 8 years to a woman named Ellen, and we had an argument once that I remember clearly. I said something that hurt her, and I knew immediately that I shouldn't have said it. She cried, and I didn't know what to do, so I left the room. I went to work. I came home later, and the thing had blown over, but it wasn't really blown over. It was just put away. Days later, could have told her that I was sorry, that I'd been wrong, but that felt weak, so I didn't say it, and I let that small hurt just sit there between us. We eventually got divorced, not because of that one moment, but because of many moments like that. I'm thinking about my son now. He's 73 years old, and he's a good man, kinder than me in many ways. He's softer with people. He lets people see him. When he was a teenager, he went through something difficult, and he tried to talk to me about it, and I remember not wanting to hear it, because if he was struggling, then I wasn't being strong enough for him, then I was failing. So I shut it down, made it clear that we don't talk about those kinds of things, and he never tried again. He's 73 years old, and there's still a wall between us, and it's my wall. My wife is sleeping in the other room. I can hear her breathing from here, and I'm very aware that she will not always be breathing. One morning I found Margaret in the kitchen looking out the window. She'd been quiet all day, and I asked her what was wrong. And she turned to me and said, "Do you still love me, or am I just a habit?" And I felt something in my chest drop, because I could see that she wasn't sure, that all these years she didn't know. And in that moment, I understood that I didn't know how to answer her. Not because the answer wasn't true, but because the truth required something I'd never learned to do. It required me to be seen. What I should have done was put down whatever I was holding and really looked at her and said something real, something that came from inside instead of from habit. But instead, I reassured her like she was worried about something practical. "Of course I love you. We've been married 54 years. And I felt it even as I said it, felt how empty the words were, how they didn't answer what she was actually asking. And I could see her understand that too. And then she just turned back to the window, and I stood there knowing exactly what I'd failed to do, and I didn't do it anyway. Around 70, something started to change. People stopped coming to me for emotional support, and I noticed it. My grandchildren would ask me advice about jobs or money, but they wouldn't tell me about their heartbreaks, their fears. And I remember feeling hurt about that. Why wouldn't they trust me? But I think I knew why. I think they'd learned, just like my children had learned, that I was not a safe place to be vulnerable. My mother died when I was 51. We had a distant relationship. We loved each other, I think, but we didn't know how to show it. She had a heart attack. It wasn't a long illness. It was fast. And I remember being at the hospital, and she was conscious. And I could have said something. I could have told her that I loved her, that I appreciated what she'd done for me, that I was glad she was my mother. But I didn't say any of those things. I sat there and I made small talk. And I tried to be strong for her. I wish I had told her. I remember wishing it even then while she was still alive. I wish I had said, "Mom, I'm sorry I've been so far from you. I'm sorry I never showed you that you mattered to me." But I didn't. And then she died. And I've lived with that for 47 years. I think I finally understand what I was doing. I thought I was protecting people from my weakness, but I was really protecting myself from being loved. Because if I stayed distant, if I stayed in control, then nobody could see how scared I actually was. And if nobody saw it, maybe I could pretend I wasn't scared at all. That's what I needed to believe about myself, and I believed it for most of my life. I'm 98 years old, and I finally see what I was doing. I thought showing need was showing weakness. I thought the point of love was to be strong for other people, never the other way around. I was wrong about that. But knowing it now doesn't change what's already happened. The distance is still there, the walls are still there. Being loved means being seen, and I never let anyone see me. Margaret will find out I'm gone, my children will find out, my grandchildren will find out, and they'll remember me the way I constructed myself, as someone strong, someone reliable, someone who didn't need anything from anyone, and that's what will remain. That's the version of me that survives. The other version, the one that was afraid, that needed them, that wanted to be loved and not just respected, that one will stay hidden. I don't know how much time I have left. Maybe enough to say some of the things I didn't say, maybe not. Either way, the years that passed, those are gone. The moments I should have been vulnerable and chose silence instead, those don't come back. I'm 98 years old, and I see it now, and that clarity doesn't fix anything, and it just sits with me, heavy and still, the way regret sits at the very end of a life.